we'll get started nonetheless. I'm sure they will appear. So welcome. It's been 2 months since we have met. I assume everyone has received the agenda, and at the bottom of the agenda, just a quick reminder that every meeting, there's going to be a synopsis of a previous meeting. So if anyone ever misses a meeting, you can simply look at the agenda, and at the bottom, there will be a description of who spoke and or what program we discussed. So today we are getting back in the swing of things, and I felt that it was important, as did Jackie, to really reassure the community that the collaboration amongst the first responders through the pandemic and beyond has been amazing. Unfortunately, Chief Pittman is on vacation. Otherwise, I have no doubt that he would have joined the meeting. So I'll be representing the police department. We felt that it was important not only to have representatives of the police and fire, but also the hospital. We have come leaps and bounds with the collaboration with all three organizations. And I thought it was imperative that we show that, display that, and explain perhaps the changes, the challenges, or how far we've come with the open discussion, the dialogue, and just the helping each other. So I believe we have Gloria here. She is the clinical coordinator as well as the daytime charge nurse. And I know that Chris is also here. So thank you for representing the hospital. And since we don't have a member of the fire department here yet, we're just going to go through the agenda briefly. Can we go through each of us and just give a quick introduction of who we are? So my name is Kevin Marshall. I work for the police department. I'm the co-chair of the NAMI advisory group, and I will start with Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue Mintonen. I am with NAMI on Nantucket, and I'm in charge of substance misuse prevention programming.
Thanks. Ms. Edwards?
Yes, my name's Jacqueline Edwards. I'm the mother of a consumer who needs constant care, and I am in close alliance with Jackie Lane.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Suzanne Franzuto, Program Coordinator, NAMI on Nantucket, and I work with Sue.
The good doctor.
Tim Leffrey from Addiction Solutions, dealing with patients that are addicted to alcohol or to drugs. With Aileen Womack, who is now out administering vaccine as quickly as she can. So that's why she's not here.
Awesome, thanks. Jacob?
Hi, all. Jacob Stapleton. I'm the Community Engagement and Education Coordinator at Children's Cove, Child Advocacy Center for Cape Cod and the Islands.
Thanks. And I'm going to skip over to Kathy.
I am Kathy Fairberg, and I just began working with Children's Cove. I'm the Family Services Coordinator.
Awesome, welcome.
Thank you.
Margaretta?
Margaret Andrews, Executive Director of the Community Foundation for Nantucket.
Penny? I see you're muted.
Hi, Penny Snow, Quality of Life Counseling. I get a lot of referrals from people in recovery. As long as they keep coming, I'll keep working.
Awesome. Thanks, Penny. Jacqueline?
Jackie
Jackie,
Lane,
yeah.
Executive Director of NAMI Cape Cod and Islands.
Thanks, Jackie. Mr. Glowacki?
Good afternoon, Chris Glowacki. I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Community Development at the hospital.
Thanks for joining. Holly? You're muted, Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly McGowan. I'm on the advisory board of NAMI ASAP and a concerned community member.
Thanks, Holly. Amanda?
Amanda Wright, Clinical Director at Fairwinds.
Thanks. Heather?
Hi, I'm Heather Haddon. I'm a member of the recovery community and a contributor, I guess, to ASAP NAMI.
Thanks. Bint?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Bint Rustad, and I am a relative of someone who's been involved with many of the agencies here, and a former social worker in my past life. So I am here as a private citizen.
Awesome. Jason, congrats.
Thanks, Sergeant Marshall. Jason Bridges, Executive Director at Fairwinds. Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Gloria.
Hello, I'm Gloria Gasnaris, Clinical Coordinator in the Emergency Room, and happy to be invited to be in this meeting. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Gloria. So as we had stated earlier, we thought that it was imperative that we explain the great collaboration that has taken place amongst us, not only with the first responders, but also with the private practices and the different mental health facilities that we have on the island. Gloria, did you want to start and just talk briefly about what your role is and or perhaps the changes that you've seen through the pandemic?
Sure. My role as clinical coordinator is I'm here to do the take care of operations during the day. I usually am the one to receive the first call as charge nurse if the police department or any of the agencies are having a patient who's at risk and needs to come for further evaluation in the emergency room. This is great for us because it lets us prepare for our behavioral health rooms. It lets us prepare for staff for sitting situations. And I think that during COVID, we've done a really great job because we have been physically in collaboration with folks. We've had counselors come with the patients. We've had patients come with very peacefully with the police and fire. And we've had some individuals who have been a little out of control, but very well taken care of by all fire and police department. So I think that we can be very proud of what we did and what we're doing and how we are growing in our community with providing services for everyone. And I really appreciate the collaboration because I remember a time when it wasn't so collaborative, and this is a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Gloria. You're the clinical coordinator. Is there an executive director or director of the ER, or is that just an interim position right now?
We presently have a manager of the emergency department. Her name is Carolyn Gifford. And we also have an interim CNO that we had invited, but she had a conflict. She was our interim manager during the heat of COVID and was going to offer some comments, but she had another meeting. So at present, yes, we do. Her name is Carolyn Gifford.
Awesome. And in the past, we've had discussions and or questions regarding the doctors that are in the ER. Could you just explain, are they rotating? Are they floating? Do we have some from off island? Are there standard ones that are from here? Just to explain to the group.
So what we have a contract with the Blue Water Group. The Blue Water Group is a group that comes out of Brunswick, Maine. We have a core group of doctors who come here, and of those doctors, we do have local doctor, which is Dr. Frabel, and we have some local mid-levels, which would be Maria Carey and Caitlin Kaplan. But the other core group of doctors rotate here routinely throughout the month, and they make a monthly schedule. And there may be 8 or 9 that just routinely go through our emergency room, but we do not have what we would say would be visiting. These are a core group of physicians who come to us.
So it wouldn't be typical to have a doctor just on the whim come over. They are familiar with the island and the resources that we have out here?
Absolutely, absolutely. They've been with us for probably, I believe, 1.5 years.
That's great. I see an iPhone. I'm not sure who that is.
It's Brian Frascati.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to change my name on the thing. It always does that. Sorry.
Since we have Brian on, Gloria, how does it work with Brian and Gosnold in that contract?
That contract has been really good for us because we have kind of a split contract to the DPH for those who are underserved and underinsured or have Medicaid. We use Gosnold for those individuals. And then for the individuals who have commercial insurance, we have on-call social workers that work here at the hospital. So Brian has been excellent at coming in for all of our patients. And we also have, during COVID, we had a telemed service. And at present, that service has also increased. We just got a new service, a new iPad service, but it's been working well. And we're going to test it today and look at it but that has been a really godsend, especially also because we can provide interpreter services as well.
Awesome. And we have a lot of community members on the call. Is there a way that you could explain the process if someone were to either walk in on their own or if they were to be brought in by ambulance or even a section? Oftentimes, I think the community doesn't understand the process and or why someone might be released after an exam.
I'll start very basic with the process. We treat all our behavioral health patients the same, and it's a matter what we think of as safety first, safety for the patient and safety for the staff. And that doesn't mean that we keep the police department here for everyone. What that does mean is that we make sure that we check all their belongings. We make sure that they get dressed in what we have paper scrubs, and we take anything that they can harm themselves away from them. We have behavioral health rooms, which are not very cozy, but they're all meant to have to be safety. So we have a garage door that covers up any equipment that would someone might be tempted if they were impulsive to hang themselves or throw or everything. So there's minimal things in the behavioral health room. There is a stretcher, which has a mattress. And then if we deem this person is a harm to themselves or other, they have a one-to-one sitter, meaning that someone is outside the door. That also means that we will limit visitors, especially before the evaluation has happened. What has to happen first is a medical evaluation to make sure that there is not a medical reason why the behavior is happening. So once we have that clearance, that would imagine we do, a lot of times we will do an EKG depending on the age, we do blood work and we do urine to see if there's any chemicals on board. And then after that is cleared, then we call for the counselor. So that would either be Gosnold for a certain set of patients and also the social worker for the other. That whole process, which can be very lengthy because labs have to come back and the evaluation has to happen. We usually tell folks that this may take up to 4 to 6 hours, which is a little bit lengthy, but for everything to happen, that we need that time period. During that time, the patient is offered food, drink. They do not have their telephone. They don't have a means of communication, but if there is something emergent that the patient needs to call someone, what we can do is get the phone number from their phone and use our phone just so that, again, we are in a safe environment and making sure that the patient doesn't do anything impulsive or send out any impulsive emails. And it's not as a punishment, it's just to keep everybody safe. And I think that that's probably the hardest thing for a lot of folks to understand. We protect them by, we don't give any information. So if I was in as a behavioral health patient, I would not be, my nurse would not be able to give any information to anyone who's calling out me without my permission. And if I choose not to see you and I'm allowed visitors, we do give them that choice. They do not have to see someone. And if you are the person who is triggering certain behavior, we would not allow you in as a visitor either. I hope that explains enough for you.
Oh, it does. It does. And I would just reiterate, at the beginning, you had mentioned that the room that you have set aside basically for these individuals is very minimal. And that's important because back in the day in the old hospital, there have been times where we've been watching the individual as a security, if you will, and you've had sinks ripped off the wall, you've had equipment thrown at nurses. So it is for the safety of themselves as well as your staff. So that's important to know. And also, what I heard is every time you have someone in there, it takes away resources, very similar to the police department, where you have to have a one-on-one watching them, which means that person can't be doing whatever else it is they're supposed to be doing. So it just goes to show you that it is consuming at all levels, whether it be the police, fire, and or the ER, because you're not a mental health facility. We're doing the very best we can. And as we've stated earlier, you've come leaps and bounds. So we thank you from the police department side specifically, but I'm sure the community does as well.
It's been a great effort for all of us. And I think that the other thing we need to understand is that these aren't just folks without any training. They do have MOAB training, which is self-defense and de-escalation training. So it's not that anybody can just sit there and be with these folks as well. We're trying to train as many staff as we can so that we have more resources to pull from.
Awesome. And that's a good segue where I've been collaborating with Jackie from NAMI, and we are discussing a future CIT, crisis intervention team training for law enforcement as well as first responders. Jackie's been very successful in organizing those on the Cape. And as you know, we've had a few on Nantucket, and we've opened it up regionally for officers on the Cape. But we feel now more than ever it's something that we need to reschedule. And instead of having two separate trainings, we're going to do one training, providing the Pittman approves that. But he has given me the green light to start organizing one. So we'll see if we can't collaborate together and save on resources. But it is important for the community to know, very similar to the nursing staff that you have at the hospital, the officers themselves have been trained in de-escalation, specifically with the new police reform that we have coming down. It is mandatory this specific year that we have our in-service, and we are actually, I have it right in front of me. It is responding to emergencies involving the mentally ill. It is a 3-hour training that all law enforcement officers have to attend this year. If they don't attend it, then they lose their certification to be law enforcement. So the state is taking a strong hold on this as well, realizing that it is something of importance and that we all need to be on the same page. And I think over the past year, that has shown that fire department, police, and the ER, we're all on the same page. We're all helping each other, working towards the same common goal, and that's to get the best help for that individual. I did speak with Chief Murphy. He's actually out on a call right now, so he'll see if he can't join in. But he has been a strong advocate for training his fire department as well. I know that with the new deputy chief, they've just promoted Sean Mitchell. He has already begun conversations with me to incorporate the fire department into these future trainings such as the CIT, as I just explained, which is a 40-hour training talking about de-escalation, verbal techniques, anything that we can do to keep our hands off of individuals. That's the common goal. We also do a mental health first aid, which is an 8-hour training. That training we offer to the community. We're actually going to be offering one of the trainings to Nantucket community probably in the month of October or November before the holidays. That's a free training. NAMI usually sponsors all of the costs for that. We also acknowledge that it's a Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and we're going to be hosting several QPR trainings coming down the pike in several weeks. But does anyone have any questions for Gloria while she's on, as far as the procedure that the hospital takes, why they do certain things? there's been so many questions in the past. Jacob.
So just being mindful of us being in the kid world in our work, but how do the protocols and everything vary, if at all, related to children or those who are under the age of 18? I know that space has always been a challenge and everything there, but I was just curious about that because I'm not as familiar.
The way it changes is if the younger kids are admitted. At present, our hospital will have safety rooms in the med-surg area, which do have a TV, have a shower, have a window, those kind of things. And it was decided probably a couple months ago that the adults will stay in the emergency room in that behavioral health room, but the children will be admitted. We also, for entertainment purposes, have movies and also a gaming system that is safe for them to use.
Great, thank you very much.
Have you noticed an influx with customers in the ER related to mental health or addiction?
I think overall, yes. I think that it's been twofold. I think that some of it has been COVID and being isolated, especially for the adolescents and children. And then the extra economical issues, especially over the winter with some of the trades not working. I think that really affected it. And, towards the spring when people were very, very hopeful that all of a sudden it would disappear, I think that they got a little despaired. But I think we're doing a good job and getting people help as they need it. And I think that it's statewide. We get reports on how many behavioral health beds are waiting. And there are some hospitals that can have up to 50 patients waiting for a behavioral health bed. So I think the longest wait we've had for a patient getting admitted to a facility this winter might have been the longest, would have been 10 days. So.
And was that for a child or an adult?
It could be, that one particular was for a child.
Okay.
But the other thing that I think our hospital really tries to do is if we have, and I have to give Brian credit for this, if we have patients who are uninsured, we try to get them insured as soon as we can so that it kind of increases our options for bed availability.
Yeah, Brian works miracles on that end.
No, well, I mean, I don't work miracles on that end. That is the hospital administrative staff that works with getting patients insured that really, facilitate that and do a really good job getting it quickly so that we're able to, use that insurance before they're waiting too long. Just to clarify.
Any other questions for Gloria?
Kevin, I have a comment that might be helpful information that I just thought about, because I think this is another point that sometimes the community might not understand. Once a patient has a bed in another facility, another behavioral health facility, it takes, we don't send behavioral health patients by helicopter. So we send them by traditional boat in an ambulance. And then what has to happen is that ambulance has to come from the other side. We have to get a crew from the other side. And then they have to make a quick turnaround, get down from the boat, pick up the patient and go back on the next boat. So sometimes when we're waiting longer than, someone might get a bed, say they got a bed last night, but I can't get a crew to bring an ambulance over on the boat until today, and maybe not till today until the 2:45, which means the patient might not go until till the 5:30 boat. But it's not a matter that we don't want to get them out there, but it's a matter of coordinating all the crew, the ambulance, and getting a steamship reservation for that ambulance back and forth. So I don't know.
And also the boats have to be running. I mean, we often get beds and then the boats are canceled due to weather. And so then therefore we have to kind of almost start over. Sometimes they'll hold a bed for us because of weather, but sometimes we have to restart. So.
Gloria, have you ever noticed that we haven't been able to get a patient off island because there's been no availability with the steamship?
The steamship really tries to work hard for us. So we have not had that happen yet. It's been close, especially on some of these holiday weekends.
Yeah.
I think what is most discouraging, and this is probably, is that a lot of times traffic wise, when the ambulance is going back to the boat, we've had the boat be missed because people don't move out of the way for the ambulance. So, and the boat can't wait. They
Right.
can wait too long. So that's probably the only mishap we've had. That's happened once. But the steamship really tries hard to help us.
Yeah,
We speak
that's great.
to supervisors and reservations, and they really push hard for us.
And I've said this recently, I mean, quite a bit. I feel that right now, we have been able to get ambulances and transports better than at any other time since we've been, I've been in the 7 years that I've done this work. So I have to say that the, Coastal has done a very good job of supplying us with ambulances, and we're getting, them on the boats. It's rare that we can't get an ambulance for a patient when I get a bed. I mean, sometimes if I get a bed late in the morning or something, that it's sometimes maybe difficult to get an ambulance that same day. But often I just feel that we used to have a lot more trouble transporting patients than we have in the last year or so.
Well, that's good to hear. I know that for training, the fire department is having their certain firefighters go through a paramedic school. And I believe some of them have already been certified as a paramedic. So we have that on our side as well. Any other questions for Gloria? Cool. Gloria, I said it would be short and sweet for you. So you can feel free if you needed to sign off and head to that meeting. But I would say thank you very much. The hospital has really shown a great faith and has put a lot of effort into these specific types of circumstances. Chris has always been on these meetings and able to answer any questions, but it's great to have someone from the ER who actually sees things to report back to the group. So I truly appreciate it, Gloria. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. I was happy to be.
Yeah, we all appreciate it. Gloria does a lot more of acquiring the ambulance crews and things now that a lot of the patients board in the ER. So she's done a fantastic job, I have to say.
Cool. So one of the things that the new police reform is trying to come down with is diverting people from having to go to the ER. We're trying to figure out a way to reroute individuals from having law enforcement approach them. So that's something that we'll have to discuss as a group on what that looks like. And again, when Chief Pittman comes back from vacation, maybe we can invite him to talk about what that police reform is going to look like, how the department is changing their techniques and the way they operate when it comes to mental health. But that is definitely something that could benefit the individual directly. Maybe it's not necessary to bring the person to the ER or to have a law enforcement in full uniform approach him. Maybe there's another way that we can do that. And I know Jackie's been in communication with police departments from Cape Cod area, and they're already having those discussions. So that's something that we're going to have to work on.
Yeah. I was going to just say briefly, I was on a conference call with Bay Cove recently, and there are some police departments that have already initiated having social workers or mobile crisis clinicians go with them to mental health calls, 911 calls. So that's just something that's been rolling out in other communities.
Yeah, I know it's been discussed, but I don't want to speak on that.
There is money. There's supposed to be money available for grants, and I've been instrumental in helping a couple of the Cape police departments get grants to have a social worker part-time. And not only do they go out on 911 calls occasionally, but they do follow-up calls with police and trying to establish a relationship with someone who is what we would call a frequent flyer, who goes in and out of the hospital a lot. So that person has knowledge of this social worker associated with the police when this person is in a good phase. So that has helped to make, when they have a psychotic break, it's helped to make it a bit easier to deal with them. But there is grant money around for that kind of thing. And I think that's, from what I see, and that's what I feel would be good, that's the way of the future, is to try to pair off trained social workers with police departments, because you really need both.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that I think we have the ability. I don't know if you know how much if they'd have to spend money, because I think we have the ability to have me go with them when they request it. I think I have already. So
Yeah, that would be a question for Chief Pittman in the new policies that's coming down. I can tell you that the state, and I'm going to lowball this number, but I believe the state MPTC, the Training Council's budget was between 3 and 5 million each year. And this year they have 25 million that they've received from the state for training for law enforcement and first responders. So that's a significant change. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. As far as Nantucket goes, winter is approaching, and I'm wondering if we have noticed any immediate incidents that may require some something that for us to do. I know we gave out care packages in the past to homeless individuals. I don't know if we're looking to do that again, but I'd like to be prepared, as opposed to a few years back when we were kind of rushing to put things together. Maybe we can find some money. Has anyone seen anything that concerns you? Amanda?
Well, I can just share, we have a grant for homeless youth that's 25 and under. There's very specific criteria, but in light of that, we received funding so that we could get backpacks and blankets and that kind of stuff. So we have that available if anyone knows of a homeless youth that would benefit from that, but they have to be homeless, like not with an adult, like couch surfing.
What would your definition of homeless be? As far as, I mean, living in the woods, couch surfing?
Yeah, 25-year-old living in the woods, like 25 and under living in the woods, someone couch surfing, someone who was, kicked out of their home. We also have funding to be able to help that if, like, we had a client who was kicked out of her family home and she was looking for housing on the island, they can sometimes help with like first month and last month's rent. I've called them specifically around specific cases, just to kind of see if we can, I mean, the criteria is pretty strict, so it's been really hard to be able to utilize it. But we've been, creative in terms of like calling and giving a specific case example and seeing if they can help us. But we have the supplies, but it has to be for somebody who is homeless, like you had shared, living in the woods, couch surfing, no place to go, like 25 and under.
And so we wrote the grant. Did you have to?
Pardon?
So the grant was written and accepted. Was there a statistic that you incorporated into that to show that we do in fact have homeless under 25?
I'd have to look into that. This is something that we've been getting funding through the state for like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I think I've been here at the agency. There's really only one person that has qualified for that, unfortunately. And that's why we're trying to be more creative about, specific cases. I mean, unfortunately, the majority of homeless that we deal with are older.
Right.
And they don't meet that criteria, which is really unfortunate. So I've had conversations with Tucker Holland and Brooke Moore, who are working on housing and stuff, and just in terms of how we can try to get some more funding to help those individuals.
Okay. But it's pretty set that it has to be 25. So is there an organization or someone that might want to look into coming up with adult care packages? I know we probably I personally gave out, well, less than 15 before the pandemic. And I believe the remaining items went to the resource center. Suzanne, not sure if they have any items left. Yeah.
Yes, we did give some out of the items, the coats and everything that you donated. And the rest is just put away until winter. They still have it.
Okay, so is that something we should contact them and try and organize something?
Sure, I can do that.
Cool.
And Kevin, I'm doing a meeting next week in regards to this grant that we have for youth, so I can just see if there are any resources from the Cape.
Okay.
And the other thing with the second shop, I mean, I know that we have individuals that go in to ask for clothing, and we've helped them as needed, you know, providing blankets or clothes, you know, especially when it gets colder.
Mm-hmm. Do you keep track of probably not who, but do you keep track of a number to kind of get a ballpark?
I could ask Linda. I mean, it's more specific individuals that I think are well known to all of us that know that they can go there, which will help them.
Yeah. I'd just be
but I could
curious,
ask.
not to put a name on it, but just to find out how many people are actually going into the shop and saying, I don't have money, can I have this? That'd be an interesting stat to know and to try and
I
work
can
on.
find that out. I mean, with some of them, she will charge them a very small amount of money, like $5, you know, just because that's important for them to be aware that is the store. But then the others that she does give stuff away. So I can ask her that and then let you know.
Awesome, thanks.
Kevin, I see that Jacob has his hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question, because we didn't connect or I wasn't involved in the spring. Do we know who did the homeless youth count this spring on Nantucket, or which organization or person coordinated that?
I mean, normally we're asked to partake in that, but we were not asked this year, which is very strange. And I don't know if it's because of COVID. Normally it's run through a different agency and then there's a bunch of us collecting data, but I don't know. I can't recall who owns that right now.
Yeah, I remember getting an email request. I don't know if it was from Sarah. Not sure.
So, yeah, because I know it was the town's health department a number of years ago that did that, but then it was either 2 or 3 years ago. There was some coordination between the town as well as the Homeless Prevention Council, which was based in Orleans, because they had gotten the responsibility for all of it this year. But then I don't know if it got separated again between Islands and the Cape, or if there was one core agency for that. But just thinking in conjunction with what you were talking about, because that information from that count would be really beneficial to make sure that Fairwinds has that, because it's the same population is those who participate in that. And,
you know what? Oh, sorry, go Jacob. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna, now that from my recall, Taylor, when she is in the role for the town that Jericho's now in, was the one who spearheaded that. And reached out to, you know, I think the hospital for data, Fairwinds for data, and it was a specific day and time. And I recall it was in the fall. But I think, you know, when Jericho took over that role in the whole pandemic, like he was so busy with the COVID that it may not have happened last year.
Because it takes place in the spring. They do it typically in April. It's either April or May, and it's an ongoing every year through initiative through the state. And so I can do some digging on the Cape side to see, because I know who held it on the Cape, and I can see if they had contact specifically on the island or who it was, or maybe even they coordinated that, because it's the same population that grant goes directly, or the funding goes for that population. And so if there's any information, again, it's all anonymous stuff, but they may know where to go. But the biggest challenge with that population is they don't recognize the fact that they classify as homeless, even though they need the support. So that's definitely interesting. And then if there is something for groups where you do need supplies or things like that, you know, I know a bunch of organizations that are organizing those drives, and typically right around, you know, October, everything that's needed is used up. There's usually extra, you know, I'm sure there might be a way to provide coordination that if there's families or things in need, then that could happen. So because there are some organizations here that also do cover Nantucket as well. So I'll be happy to help out in any way that I can.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it's going to be important to get that underway and organized prior to having the first cold spell. There are several homeless people that we have on the island that I just want to pay attention to. Anyone else have anything on that topic?
Can I pop in? I just wanted to let people know that there is a small task force that's working on hopefully opening like a warming center this winter for starting with a couple days a week of inviting people in and having like breakfast and lunch available and just a warm place to be, and hopefully start to involve maybe other volunteers that we could give away supplies like these care kits or something like that. So I'm hoping as we iron out details, I can be more forthcoming about it, but we are very much hoping to have a place for people to go, and we'll be looking to everyone in the community to help steer folks who need a warm place in the daytime to us. So hopefully I'll have a better update next month.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question? Kevin, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Sue, are you working with the churches? Because I know that I've had conversations with Father Max and then also Linda Simmons and Sconset Chapel just about homeless and like what we can do to help them.
Yes,
Okay.
Linda's on the committee, and we're also working with the Family Resource Center.
Okay. Well, if we can help in any way, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, but that would be a good connection with the care packaging then.
Yeah.
Whoever shows up. So that's great. If you need help, let me know. Okay, Jackie, you wanted to talk about stats?
Actually, what I wanted to mention was a bit about where we are with the GPS project, which is the community assessment. And the report is out to the core group of people. And now we're going to develop what they're calling a roadshow. And this group is scheduled to have that presentation in October meeting. And that will be a very good meeting because GPS will present what they've found. And there will be an opportunity to ask questions about it and also to give input. And then, of course, the next step is how do you go forward with what we call phase 2? And that's where we start acting on what we've found. And the funding is pretty much there. There's been private donations that are given through the foundation. So this is a chance for us to really make progress in having a real continuum of care on the island. And it's also a chance for everybody that's in this organization and in this meeting to have some input. And you're the people that everyone needs to hear from. I myself, because we're the ones that are on the ground that are dealing with all these situations. So we often see what the holes are in the system. And so we're very hopeful that this is a time to really make an impact and put together a better continuum of care, and with this all working together. One of the things that struck me I was in one of the focus groups and I listened, and what I found out, which I found kind of amazing, is the fact that not all agencies know what the other agencies do, and not all do referrals to other agencies on a regular basis. And in order to have a continuum of care, you have to have that kind of collaboration and cooperation. And I don't think it's intentional. I just think that people sometimes are so buried in what they're doing and trying to keep their own heads above water that they don't necessarily see the bigger picture. But that's something that doesn't even cost money. And that's something that this organization, I think, this should be a good starting point, because there's so many of us that provide services and need services together. So this is a very good opportunity to examine that. So I see some of that going forward with these meetings.
Okay. Did you want to, Fairwinds, is Jason still on? Actually, Amanda, do you want to talk about your event taking place this Friday?
Sure. I mean, Jason, do you want to talk about it, or I'm happy to talk about it?
Go ahead, Amanda.
So we have collaborated with NAMI, and we're having a ribbon ceremony tomorrow at 9 o'clock outside the Athenaeum in honor of those that have lost loved ones to suicide. It is Suicide Prevention Month, and so we wanted to bring awareness and let people know that there's various agencies on the island that are there to be support and to help. And so we've collaborated with NAMI. We've done this for the past 7 years, and Kevin's been involved in the past. And so if anyone is in the area, it's going to be in front of the Athenaeum from 9 to 10. And it's NAMI's going to say some words. I'm going to be saying some words. Jason will speak. And then we're going to have an opportunity for a moment of silence. And then we're going to ask that people that are there be able to put ribbons up on the string that we have in honor of loved ones that they have lost. We also have some music, and we'll be having flyers and stuff just about the services that we offer. I'm sure you've seen it on social media, but we just wanted to let you know that you're all invited. And if anyone would like me to put up a ribbon for somebody that they lost, I'm happy to do that as well.
There was
Very
also an
emotional day for
article
sure.
in Inky today. If you look at Inky, that was written up in Inky today.
I'll have to read it. I didn't see it. It's a very emotional day for sure. The first year we did it, we had about 10 people show up, all with just unbelievable stories. And it provides families opportunities to speak about how they feel. And oftentimes we forget to acknowledge and or allow for that to happen. But yeah, it's a pretty impactful day for sure. Is there a rain date?
That is a great question. No, but
It's supposed to be nice
Supposed
tomorrow.
to be the mice. Yeah, supposed to be fine.
And worst comes to worst, we'll have umbrellas. I'm being positive, Kevin.
Let's hope for sun.
The
So I'm
weather
just
is sunny.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the time. Unfortunately, like I say, the fire chief did have to go on a call. My chief is on vacation, but I wanted to go around the group to see if anyone had any other events that they'd want to bring light to this group. Just raise your hand or point your finger at me. Jacob.
It's been a bit. So just letting everybody know, our 19th annual Champions for Children conference is happening, but it will be virtual, and I'm glad we went in that direction. So I'll drop the link in the chat box below, so you can go and take a look. It is for multidisciplinary team members who are involved in responding to our cases. So that does make a good chunk of folks in the group, and you may be able to pass it on. We're actually pretty excited. We're doing something more than just you sitting in front of a Zoom link. No offense to this process, but I think we're all kind of tired of it. We have a really cool platform that we're using. There's going to be a lot of good information, opportunity for people to network, connect with people throughout the area. So definitely something great and some good presentations. So
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.
You're a perfect example as far as Children's Cove goes of how many organizations we have off island that serve the Nantucket community. And so it's great to see that Jacob attends all of these meetings and provides wonderful programs and trainings for us. And now Kathy.
Yeah, we did. They did an ARC training for us. A lot of us attended a couple years back, which was, I think, a really great training that Children's Cove sponsored.
Yeah. Jackie, do you have anything else to add, or?
We're going to be working on translating some of our programming, which has traditionally been in Brazilian Portuguese into Spanish. So we're going to be looking for ways to penetrate the Spanish-speaking community on the island. We're doing this especially for Nantucket. And we will be also translating our primer into Spanish, hopefully bringing some of the mental health education and resources to that community, which is not an easy community to reach. We've done it successfully with the Brazilians on the Cape, and we're hoping to be able to do Spanish on the island. So that'll be a big push.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie. Hi, Deborah.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to add that welcome back to everyone. We started our school year last week, but one of the things I wanted to bring up, because I do work with many of you in the capacity of the schools, is the district through some grant money that we were awarded through the federal government. Hopefully next week, provided she's secured housing, we'll be bringing on a coordinator of student support and social emotional learning for the district. And she'll be working from my office, and she's going to have a wide range of responsibilities. She'll be working with, she's a former director of guidance from, she's worked in Situate, she's worked in Greater Essex, she's worked in Virginia, she's coming from Delaware, but she has an extensive background, 25 plus years in guidance, but also in social emotional learning, and she'll be overseeing K-12 in that realm. So she'll be working directly out of my office in special services, but we are very excited to have her coming on board with having just such a need to start focusing in more and more on what's going on socially, emotionally with our kids.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's great news.
Yeah, definitely.
And we also, and I also wanted to add, I forgot, we have so many new staff members. We now have a dedicated Spanish language interpreter and translator in the special services department that we don't share with the rest of the district. That was my only budget request from last year, and it was wonderful.
Fantastic. So as always, this forum is designed for the community. So if anyone ever has an idea, a presentation, a guest speaker that they want to have come on, please let us know. We'll help you organize it. But it's not just NAMI, it is for all of us. So please utilize this forum if you feel as though there's an important topic that the community could benefit from. That's all I have. I do apologize that the fire chief was busy, but perhaps we can have the police chief come when he's back and talk about the new police reform and what that's going to look like for our department and the island as a whole. All right, so we will see you next month. Thank you.
See you next month.
Thank
Great to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Great meeting.